Hello. Well, all right. See it three. Welcome. Just one Cal. Hope good. Taking a break. It's a beautiful day here. It must be about 26 degrees. I'm guessing it's warm wherever everybody is. Lovely. Just thought I'd have a little 10 minutes off. Today we're going to talk about unconscious bias. It's quite an interesting topic. 10 minutes, just how we can overcome it. Of course, I've got a question. I'd like to get involved. So I've got a lovely little question for you today, and biscuit related. I've gone chocolate hobnobs again. I'm taking these quite slow, same pack, doing quite well, I think, on the biscuit front. So chocolate hobnobs for me today. Do you dunk or don't you? But the question is about biscuits, and it's how many packets of biscuits get consumed annually in the UK? How many packets of biscuits get consumed annually in the UK? And if Matt Croft's on, I just want to see his answer to this. I'm really hoping Croft is with us today, because it is an unbelievable number anyway. So I can hardly wait to see. Oh, don't let me down, Matt. So how many packets of biscuits get eaten in the UK? Type your answers in. Let's have a look. And I think I actually... You haven't let me down, Crofty. You're high. I'll tell you honestly, Matt's high. I think he doubled up. How many? Wow, Carl, you've gone for the Matt Croft approach to guesses. I don't know what's going on. 5.4 billion. There's 60 million. There's 60 million people in the UK. Just to get it into context, 60 million people in the UK. So that's Anyway, so we've gone from 10 million to 1.5 trillion. All right, I'll tell you at the end. How many packs of biscuits consumed in the UK? Good tea today. That's all right. Anyway, so what we're going to talk about today is unconscious bias. So what it is, firstly, one of the big things about you just worked that out, can't you? So one of the things that I want to do with unconscious bias, the big thing here is it's unconscious. So we don't know they're kind of there. So I'm going to refer us to a test. We'll probably get that pumped out there so as you can see it, so as you can do a few tests yourself. But a big thing is people do it and they go, oh, well, I didn't think I was like that. And it's kind of, no, that's because it's unconscious. If you know you're doing something with a bias, that's conscious bias. So what is unconscious bias? It's because our brain kind of pumps us to do certain things. We have a fast brain and a slow brain, which I've spoken about before on a couple of other chats. And what happens is our brain processes so much information. Our fast brain can go 200,000 times quicker. So it's just easier for it to do it. So patterns influence how you were brought up. So I was born in the 60s. So things that I was brought up with were my norm. And that's how they influence me, things like that. So you don't always know these things, but they impact on how you work, how you behave, and how you interact with others. Now, of course, there can be some bad things because those patterns that we adjust to can be all wrong. So if we're thinking about recruitment, because we can put a perception on somebody, either what they look like, anything along those lines. It could be about customers. We can start grouping things together. We can't say all finance houses are the same or something like that. Estate agents would be a real biggie. It can be about promotion, that kind of thing. We can miss people out. We just dismiss them. So there's some of the things professionally that can impact on us. Of course, there's good things sometimes about this instant reaction that we have. Like if you see a red sign, you stop. Red light means stop. So you just gut reaction it. It's that kind of thing. Zebra crossings, beeping, stuff like that. Those noises, those sounds, yeah, that's good or that's bad, so I'm going to react instantly. Other things, I don't know, something like estate agents, and I apologise to all the estate agents out there, but there's a lot of perception around those by a lot of people, classic salespeople, and we kind of, it's not great. But all those things that have happened to us kind of build up how we see things. So just an example, and I know there's a few examples of this, but like as a kid, when you first went into school, often the teacher would say something like, good morning, boys and girls. So this is going boys first, girls second. Boys first, girls second. I know in later life we talk about ladies and gentlemen, but by then the boys and girls thing has come, yeah? Even things like Disney films, it was always about men saving the day. So the princes will come in and save the day. and they would be the hero and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and that's what a lot of people growing up with things like Disney, and that's where Frozen kind of really challenged that, because it was like that she was going to be saved by true love's kiss, and of course that was given by a sister. So that was one of the first Disney films that really challenged that unconscious bias about who we thought was going to save the day, all that kind of stuff. So even in modern world now, we're kind of changing. So what kind of unconscious biases do we have? Well, perception. I've said that. When we see somebody for the first time, and I'm sure we've all done it. We've all done it, and that's an important thing to say. Actually, we all have an unconscious bias. We kind of think we can trick it, but it's not like that. Everybody has unconscious biases. Confirmatory. So this is kind of where I look at somebody and I think they do one thing, and then I look for all the things that will support my belief. A bit like horns and halos in a couple of other topics that we talk about. But if I look for all the good, I will find it. If I look for all the not so good, I will find it. Social confirmation. So sort of keeping up with the Joneses. Attribution bias, and this is a really interesting one. Some of this is a bit linked to gender, and this will be around that kind of thing where maybe if a guy makes a decision and they go, oh yeah, he's good, he's decisive, he's a tough decision maker. But if a woman was to make the same decision, some of that unconscious bias would come out as, or they were a bit overly aggressive, or a guy might be willing to take a chance and a woman be seen as lucky. And it is normally about the gender there as well. So that's one of the barriers. And also affinity, which is about people I like, which is a bit like confirmatory bias as well, but it's kind of in there. So all those biases is great, and we kind of recognise them, probably see them in ourselves if we look hard enough. But how do we stop them? That's the key thing. How can I stop these confirmatory biases? Well, firstly, you've got to acknowledge they're there. That's the first thing you do. And a good way to do this, there's some tests online, and they're called unconscious bias tests, implicit association tests, they're known as IATs. Just type in Harvard IAT and you'll get the link. But if we can, we'll try and get that link in the comments. It'll take about 15 minutes, but they're really interesting. You can do them on race, gender, religion, anything along those lines. But they're really good because they will just give you the unconscious bias you have. Now this is the interesting thing, that the fact that you're kind of got to acknowledge that you've got that bias because maybe upbringing, parents, families, how you were brought up, all those kind of things. So some interesting facts. This is for the ladies. This is about ladies specifically. But blondes earn 7% on average more than redheads and brunettes. So I don't know why, but there you go. But blondes earn 7% more. From a race point of view, if two CVs are absolutely identical, the same CV but with different names at the top, and let's say one is an obviously Caucasian name and one is obviously a person of colour name, the Caucasian will get called for interview over and above more times, more likely to be called, sometimes up to 4 to 1. Unconscious bias just on name alone. Height, I'm 6'5", and I'm a man, and I'm white. These three things potentially put me in a strong unconscious bias position, so it can land in my favour. Average heights of CEOs, FTSE 100, Fortune 500, 6'2" and above, despite only 4% being that tall. So it's completely disproportionate, the amount of tall people, particularly tall males, who land in those positions. The percentage of the people in the country doesn't match. So now, none of these companies are saying, I want to hire a blonde woman and pay her 7% more. I want to hire a 6'4" white man. They're not setting out to do that. It's just those things that we've seen that have influenced it. That doesn't mean you can't be 5'8" woman and CEO. That's not what this is about. It's about the unconscious biases. And what we have to do as businesses is challenge them and recognise them. So what can we do? We can increase our contact with the other groups. That's the first thing we can do. We can recognise them in ourselves, and we can try and blind ourselves, not literally. But what I mean by blind yourself is kind of take the name off the top of CVs. In certain schools, they've done this where they don't associate exam papers with names, because some people say, oh, it's that school, so that they're notoriously bad. So, immediately, and then that's going to lead to confirmatory bias. So that's quite interesting. So kind of blind yourself if you can. Plan a little bit more, plan your decision making, don't go on your gut. So that links it a little bit to just slow down, take a step back. Secondly, if you're very tired, your unconscious decision making will spring to life more. So, if you've got a pressure decision, try not to do it when you're tired, because you're more likely to rely on what you've seen before. Counter some stereotypes. So classic things that you see, try and challenge that. Talk to people who work in those industries. If you come up and you see yourself with a bias against women or something like that, then work with more women, see how they see it. And there's a whole host of things, of course, running strong at the moment in the papers and the news across the Atlantic about these kind of things. I said take a break, slow it down, consider how you come across visually, verbally, and vocally. So the words you say, how you look, and the tone of voice. So we're more and more like online like this. So am I drifting back? Am I like head down? So all of these things, try and engage everybody with the same signals that you're giving out, because we look for positive signals and not so good signals. Now, this topic's a hugely interesting topic. And the key thing I want you to take away from this is we're not talking about people with overt biases. We're talking about things that have come to us through our parents, our upbringing, the places we were born, all of those kind of things. And those biases sit in all of us. Look at the tests, 15 minutes of your life. It's really worth it. Just do them every now and again. I'd like to think that we've all got, a little bit of time that we can do those. Identify where your biases lie, and then think, okay, what can I do to stop these? Those certain things about, this is what this business is like. Things get grouped together. Certainly things like finance houses. When I go and see clients, it's like, are they all the same? Of course, they're not all the same. But it's just easy and it's quicker if I can just group them together. So consciously slow down. Just reading the comments there. Yeah, Matt, we've got to get you in a grow bag, and I'd say grow and dye your hair blonde, Matt. But remember, it's blonde women, not blonde men. So don't worry about dyeing your hair blonde. Just grow, really. That's the big thing. Now, biscuits. How many biscuits do we eat? How many packets of biscuits? We've got 1.5 trillion, 6 billion, 10 million. Wow, we think we eat a lot more biscuits than we actually do. It's Rachel's the closest. It's actually 141 million packets of biscuits a year. That's how many we consume. And interesting fact. Thursday, I hope you can all join me again. But Thursday, what we're going to talk about, because we're doing a lot of virtual, what I'm going to do is talk about giving virtual feedback. Because we're leading a lot of people virtually now, so we're going to talk about virtual feedback. Yep, we know face-to-face feedback, but what about virtually? Does it change? Is there other things we have to consider? So that's what we're going to have a look at on Thursday. Really hope you can join me. Thanks a lot. Well, Chloe might as well, I'm sure. Do you reckon you put in quite a lot of that 141 million? But no worries. Enjoy your biscuits. Thank you for sharing me some time to have a cup of tea. I really hope to see you Thursday. Thanks a lot, guys. Stay safe.